Well, hello, hello, hello. This is me, Sandra R. Blythe, and I am here on the topic Reaching Our Best with Robnick Enterprise. And today and for the next couple of weeks, we're going to talk about guilt, shame, and blame. Right, right, right. Guilt, shame, and blame. This is probably not going to be popular. I'm pretty sure it's not going to be comfortable, but despite the fact, I think it is going to be advantageous and beneficial and going to bring pause to how we handle guilt, shame, and blame. Today, we're going to specifically talk about guilt. And Brene Brown, some of you may be familiar with. She's a researcher, she's a public speaker, and she talks a lot about shame, the vulnerability of it, as well as other topics. But this is kind of the la creme of the la creme for her is to talk about shame. So one of the things that she said about shame is she said, I believe that guilt, I'm sorry, I said shame. I believe that guilt is adaptive and helpful. It's holding something we've done or failed to do up against our values and feeling psychologically discomfort or psychological discomfort. So I want to start there because one, we understand guilt is an emotion, and that emotion is usually motivated by remorse, acknowledging that we've done something wrong. She takes it a step further when she talks about adapting, you know, that we recognize if we put it up against our values, we begin to feel uncomfortable. And in that space, we begin to acknowledge that we've done something wrong, so much so until we have that feeling of guilt. So, all of us, no one is exempt, we've experienced guilt. We've experienced guilt. So, let's talk about it a little deeper than just what it means and that the fact that it's an emotion and it brings remorse and those types of things. One of the things that I would say about guilt that can allow it to operate in a very positive space is that guilt can cause us to grow, and guilt can also bring us to a call to action. And you say, well, how would guilt help me grow? I feel guilty, right? But here's what I want you to think about. When we feel guilty and we're acknowledging, because the guilt has to come from acknowledgement. When I'm acknowledging I've done something wrong and this thing we call guilt is being manifest and it's morphing, it's evolving. I'm either going to be comfortable being uncomfortable with what I've done, or I'm going to take the avenue that says, I need to change. I need to do something different. I need to learn from what I did wrong. And maybe what I did wrong wasn't all about action, it may have been about what I said. So I've got to learn through that how to come out on the other side where I'm better. It's the life lesson, it's what I'm learning, it's how I'm getting better. It's the call to action because, again, I'm acknowledging, that wasn't right. I'm acknowledging, that wasn't right. That wasn't right what you said. That wasn't right what you did. But here's the funny thing about guilt, it will never benefit if there's not a true conviction. Guilt will never benefit me. It will never benefit you if it's not a true conviction. What am I saying? If I'm not 100% convicted in my heart that what I did was wrong, I'm not going to grow. There's not going to be a call to action. And that feeling of psychological discomfort came and went, came and went. Pew, pew. Yeah, just for a minute, but I got over it. It was just for a minute, but I got over it. So when we talk about guilt, a call to action, something that we grow from, it only will happen if we're truly convicted and convinced what I did was wrong, what I said was wrong. This situation was wrong, and I am the culprit. And if we don't feel that, then guilt can be a fleeting feeling, or guilt may not even play into the situation because we have compartmentalized what we did and said, well, it really wasn't that bad. It wasn't wrong. That wasn't wrong what I did. If it was somebody else, they would have done the same thing. Because that makes what we do valid, right? If it was somebody else, they would have done the same thing. Now, I am never on here to beat you up, but I'm always here to talk about what makes us our best, what makes us better. And when we are close to the idea of being exposed, close to the idea of assessing, self-evaluating, and saying, you know what, that's a hard lesson to hear, but it's mine, and I'm going to own it. As my sidebar, let's keep going about this guilt. Guilt can be a problem, but yet beneficial when we understand that it's manifesting from a place of the moral compass. That's our values. What is my moral compass? But let me hit you with one a little bit heavier. What's my spiritual compass? Mm. What does the Lord say about this? Oh, Sandra, we're not on here for that. You have two compasses. You have a moral compass and you have a spiritual compass. And depending on where you are, you may solely look at your moral compass. So there are going to be some things that your moral compass says, it's okay. You didn't do anything wrong. It's okay. You didn't say anything wrong. That's your moral compass. But if we integrate the spiritual compass, we incorporate the spiritual compass, now there's going to be some things that the moral compass says, girl, that ain't wasn't nothing wrong with that. And the spiritual compass says, hold up, that's a problem. That was wrong. Mm. So depending on how I weigh my compasses, I may allow my moral compass to override what my spiritual compass is telling me. I may allow my spiritual compass to override what my moral compass is saying is okay. So it just depends on where you are. But if I don't have a moral compass and I don't have a spiritual compass, Houston, we got a problem because that's wide open. That's a free for all. I can do and say whatever and not feel guilty. There's nothing pushing my conscience that says, ooh, that was wrong. Oh, you shouldn't have said that. There's nothing feeding my conscience because I don't have a moral compass and I don't have a spiritual compass. I'm just doing me. Whatever that is, whatever that sound like, whatever that look like, I'm doing me and there are no restrictions. And people exist on that level. But what we want to make sure is that that's not us, right? We want to make sure I got a moral compass, and on my best day, I need to have a spiritual compass because those are going to be the things that allow my guilt to manifest. Those are going to be the things that allow me to say, wait a minute, you're out of order. That's wrong. And as I feel that guilt, as my conscience pricks me, I gravitate to the call to action. I gravitate to, I need to do better. I need to be better. I need to be my best. That's not my best. That emotion called guilt that brings me remorse, that pricks my conscience, that knocks on the door of my morality, that knocks on the door of my spirituality. Those are all the pieces that allow me to not just experience that emotion, that feeling of guilt, but it brings me to a call of action so that I can grow past whatever it is that I've done, whatever it is that I've said. So guilt can be a benefit. It can be a benefit. We don't want to live in guilt, but when it occurs, we have to understand the call to action. We have to be convicted. We have to be convinced that, oh, that was wrong. I've got to turn the corner and do my best. I've got to turn the corner and do better. I've got to look at my compasses and make sure that we're in a line with what's right and what's wrong. I've got to be very careful that I don't try to dress up wrong and make it right and take away the guilt. Because we can do it. You know we can. We can start rationalizing anything. Well, the reason why I hit her was because, and because I just feel like anybody else would have done the same. Well, what? It was wrong that you hit her. Well, the reason why I took that money was, no, it was wrong that you took the money. When we start rationalizing, it becomes easy to bury guilt. Because now I'm on the plane of rationalizing. I'm not allowing my moral compass to impact me, my spiritual compass to impact me. I'm on a whole different level of almost erasing having a conscience about what I'm doing. And we got to be real careful not to do that. Allow guilt to do what it does, which should be, it allows me to reassess, reset, reevaluate. To thine own self be true. Let me be truthful about what I did. Let me be truthful about what I said. And let me get the lesson so that I can be better. If we spend our days getting the lesson, if we spend our days getting better, we're going to be less likely to be a repeat offender. Truth. If we spend our days doing our best, getting better, we will be less likely to be a repeat offender because we're learning as we make our mistakes so that we don't return to those mistakes. I'm not advocating for guilt. Oh, guilt is great. But what I want us to understand about guilt is that if we experience it through the lens of growth, if we experience it through the call to action, then that moment is very well worth feeling what we feel. And guilt is not something that feels good. So why would I want to keep experiencing it? It would make more sense for me to say, I didn't like how that felt. So I'm going to do better, be better. I'm going to rethink how to handle certain situations. I'm going to rethink what I say before I say it because I don't like how guilt feels and I can't get comfortable in it. And it don't look good on me. Guilt don't look good on me. It's not even my color. Come on, you know it's not. Guilt is not even your color. Stop it. Doesn't look good on you. It's too tight. All those things. So what I want you to do this week, this is what I want you to do this week. I want you to assess how you have handled guilt in the past. And I want you to think about if there's a current situation where you are feeling guilt. And if you're currently feeling guilt, what is your next step? Your next step is to own it. Your next step is to learn from it. And your next step is to be better so that you do not become a repeat offender. That's the lesson. We don't want to wallow in guilt because it can lead to depression, but we do want to identify what we're feeling, why we're feeling it, and how we move forward. Right? Right. So I thank you for spending this time with me today. Guilt, shame, and blame. We're going to hit it again next week and we're going to talk about shame. Okay? All right. Thank you for joining me. And until next week, be courageous enough to be present in the truth. See you.